Good morning, everybody. I've got my coffee. I got my vape. Let's talk a little. So today, I'm going to talk a little more serious in parts of this, and it might not relate to everybody, but it will relate to quite a few people. So before that, excuse me while I take a sip. Man, that's good. One of the YouTubers that I follow is the Idaho Hillbilly, and I will put a link to their channel, Idaho Hillbilly and Miss Kitty. Amazing people. They're real people. They live up the mountains of Idaho, which I love that because, as you know, we spend quite a bit of time, a couple of times a year, in the mountains of Colorado, living off the grid and actually with no internet or anything. So it's fun to watch a couple and a family who actually do that. They live up there in the mountains all year round. But there also are resellers. So our junkers, as they say. So they go pick up stuff and they sell stuff just like the rest of us, but they also show their life going to the mountains, cutting firewood, which means big tall trees, hunting for elk, all kinds of cool stuff. So anyway, like I said, I'll put a link down in the description. You can enjoy them too. So Saturday, Idaho Hillbilly was out chopping wood, and he had his camera actually in his woodshed pointed out. Well, he had run an electric wire from his house all the way over to somewhere on the other side of the woodshed so that they could put up a light, so with it getting darker earlier when they got home, that there would be light out there. But he hadn't considered the height of it and how it passed over where he was chopping. So he went to take a big old swing. He hit that wire, pulled that wire down. The end of it ripped out of his roof and broke one of his windows on his house. And of course, his reaction was great. It was probably exactly what I would have done if I was on camera around people. Very controlled explosion with keeping a lot of humor and composure. I really loved watching that. That was really cool to see him do that. But my thoughts right after that is, man, that could have been so much worse in a split second. Could have changed his whole entire life. The whole story would have been different if that wire hadn't give and it snagged that axe out of his hand and hit him in the head, or chopped one of his limbs, or he fell back and it fell down on him. It could have been a totally different story. And then my next thought was, thank God for broken windows. Thank God for those times where things happen to us, and we a lot of times will focus on, man, I wasn't expecting that. Man, why did that happen? How am I going to handle this? And if you think about it, or you may never ever know how bad it could have been, that this was the best case scenario for this to happen. And through it happening, if you focus on moving forward, I mean, sure, you gotta spend a couple of seconds stomping around, losing your head, saying, "Oh crap," But then you move forward and you go over it, around it, or through it. Then it helps you grow. You learn skills. It brings other people into your life. Gives an opportunity for you to experience other people and God providing for you. And I love that last one a lot. I really do. So that I was inspired to do this coffee with Phil this week. I'm going to take another sip. It's early. So yeah, I was inspired to do this video anyway. But then something else happened yesterday that fit right in line with this. And Myrna and I were driving out to visit her mom, who lives an hour basically southwest of us, but she lives west of south of Nashville. It takes us about an hour and 10 minutes to get out to where she stays in the wintertime. And Myrna also had a recording session out there the next town over. So we were going to make a dual thing, have lunch with her mom and then go to the recording session. So we were on our way out driving on Interstate 40. We were on the outside lane. There's one of those concrete dividers there. I mean, just enjoying the day. It was beautiful. It wasn't too cold. It was just cold enough. It was just bright enough. We were wearing our sunglasses and just having a great time talking and just really enjoying. That's Myrna's day off, and we spend it together. And then all of a sudden we get hit by a deer. Now we were going 80 miles an hour at least. I don't know, but I would think it's 70 there, and we usually do about 80. And she was in the fast lane. And a deer just jumped right over the divider and right into us. It was exactly like you see in the movies, where the people are just talking, joking, laughing, having a great time. The music is all, and all of a sudden you see from the driver's side this big truck all of a sudden plow into them and their life changes. It was exactly like that, except I couldn't even tell it was a deer until Myrna told me afterwards. I just saw this big giant brown thing, and I thought somebody had somehow thrown something at us because it was coming from the wrong direction to actually fall off of somebody's car. But anyway, it hit the windshield and actually put a hole in it at the bottom corner, left corner, and it cracked it across and completely broke out Myrna's side window. She was covered with glass. She did great. She was obviously freaking out, but she kept control. She didn't go into traffic or anything. She just kept control, and I kind of calmed her down and got her over to the side of the road. And as it turned out, it did damage to the quarter panel up front. It took out the driver's side rear view mirror, which was already broken. The quarter panel was already messed up from a flat tire that we had a few years back. And of course the window was out. There was glass everywhere. There was glass on Myrna's face, and she had some cuts. I had glass on my hair all the way till 10 o'clock last night. Luckily she had long sleeves on so that none of the glass got on her. And the cart was drivable. It needs an alignment, kind of pushed the wheel a little bit. Got to the side of the road. Called our insurance company, found out just like we knew, it's $500 deductible, but they'll cover anything after that. Called a friend to see if he could tow us. Didn't know if the car was legal, so we called the non-emergency police number, and a very nice cop came out. Man, he was awesome. I love it. I love it when you get to meet cops, when they're just being themselves. They're able to just be themselves and relax, and they're just like the guy next door. You know, it was awesome. First thing he said was that the deer that you hit way down there? So main thing I wanted to know was, is this legal to drive? Because we were at that point, well, it took us an hour driving the back roads. And he said, oh yeah, it definitely is. And he said, if you'd like, I can sit here and make you a police report if you want to. He talked to us for a while and just joked and everything, told us how lucky we were. And now he didn't have to do that police report. We weren't asking for it because our insurance company didn't ask for it. But I was like, that would be pretty cool just to have. So we took the pictures and everything. And like I said, we drove it home. It took us about an hour, but it was actually a nice drive. It wasn't too cold like I thought it was going to be blowing in on me. We stopped by a place to vacuum out all the glass, put plastic over it. And you know what? My second thought after I knew that Myrna was okay, and what I needed to do to help her, was, how are we going to pay for this? What's going to happen? And then I'm trained. I'm trained. It's a habit of mine that's developed over the years that I really love, and that is, my next thought was, God will provide. And yeah, a lot of you may not believe that, or believe, but a lot of you will. And to those people who don't, you know what? There's going to be other videos for you. but I've had this happen to me many, many times in my life where God provides. And so anyway, that was my next thought. And then the next thought was, well, then what do we do now? So I'm going to take another sip. So, but as we were driving home, we were going over it and what happened. And Myrna actually locked eyes with the deer as it was jumping over. Now, if it would have been a split second earlier, we could have hit it head on, just going 80 miles an hour. If just a couple of seconds earlier, a couple of seconds after, the story would have been completely different. It could have come into our windshield, which happens a lot of times. And of course, this thing had a big rack. No telling what would happen then. If it was a split second later, he could have come through the windshield with his rack, hitting Myrna. He could have pushed us into traffic because there was solid traffic, all going 80 miles an hour, 75 to 80 miles an hour. It just could have been completely different. But it hit at the exact time where we do just enough damage to hit the exact spot where we could still drive our car. I figure that the damage it's going to be probably between $450 or $500. So we're not going to need insurance. Myrna actually had a really good weekend this Friday and Saturday night. This time of year, if she brings home on a Friday and Saturday night $300, then that's doing pretty good this time of year because there's usually not a lot of people in town. But the Patriots were playing the Titans, and so there were some people from Massachusetts in, and they were throwing hundreds at them, and they were doing this all over town. There was people that made $750 in a 4-hour show. But anyway, so Myrna made actually about $1,000 on Friday and Saturday night, and we were expecting probably about 500. That's good for her this time of year, and so God provided the extra money that we need for this situation. Plus, she also picked up a gig last night that paid her about $375 when she usually takes Sunday nights off. But and it was a lot of fun. Same scenario. The Massachusetts people who were amazing people. Had such a great time with them. But anyway, so you might think, if we would have not stopped for gas, or if we would have stopped to pick up some lunch instead of going out and, just a snack or something to tide us over, because it was about 2:00 in the afternoon. It was after lunch, and we were meeting Bobby out there for lunch. If we just left a little bit later or driven just a little bit slower, then that deer would have encountered somebody else, and there might not have been a scenario that could have been better if it was a smaller car. All kinds of things. If they were by themselves, heaven forbid that I was feeling really bad yesterday morning. I almost let Myrna go by herself. I'm so glad that she wasn't by herself. It could have been an old person. There's all kinds of scenarios. So if it hadn't been us, then who would it have been, and what would have been the situation? And also you could say, well, if God's taking care of you, then why didn't he just let that deer come when there wasn't any traffic or stop traffic or whatever? But you know what? God actually, and I have this little arrangement that I love for situations where he can show us that he has our backs and he is in control. And I don't mind going through a little stress because it's a test for us. So it feels so much better to have a situation hit you, and yeah, like I said, a moment of freak out, but then be able to actually know that it's going to be okay. And you know what? When you know that and then you calm your mind and you move forward with that understanding, it's going to be okay. Somebody bigger than me has this. And all I have to do is do my part. It really turns out a lot better every single time. And I personally enjoy this. Again, don't mean to preach. I'm not the kind of person, I don't push my beliefs on other people, but you know what? I will express them if you're around me, especially if you ask a question. I don't have a problem voicing my beliefs. So anyway, so what am I going to do today? I'm going to get on the phone. I'm going to get one of those windshield places that come out and fix her window and her windshield. I'm going to get online and order a mirror, rear view mirror. I can put it on myself, and the quarter panel, I can put that on myself. Call around and find out where's the best place to get an alignment. And you know what? I'm going to be smiling the whole way. Thank God for broken windows. So anyway, if you like this video, please hit the like, share, comment. If you have those situations, if you have anything that's on your heart, please share it. I love that. And come back next time. Hit that ringy-dingy thing so you're notified the next time that I do a video. And as always, no matter what tune life plays you or what deer life plays you, always find your groove. Thanks for chatting with me. Thanks for hanging out. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.